shooting down in the woods. He wouldn't leave it even if he could. 'Cause life is good, yeah!
Hickok45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from Middle Tennessee, the home of Dolly Parton, Davy Crockett, Alvin York, and many others, including, we sort of claim the 101st Airborne and the 5th Group Special Forces up at Fort Campbell. I guess we at least put 50% claim on them. Fort Campbell Army base up there outside of Clarksville, between Clarksville, Tennessee and Hopkinsville, Kentucky, is on the state line. It straddles the state line. I think of it as being in Tennessee, to tell you the truth. I think maybe the official address is Kentucky, but it's in both states. So and I'm up that way a lot. Anybody that lives this part of Tennessee is. We used to compete up there in IPSC, USPSA competitions with a lot of those guys. Would come down, some from the 101st, and many of them from the 5th Group would compete in IPSC with us. And, I don't know, I just feel like they're part of us, Tennessee. So we're proud of all those guys and gals at Fort Campbell, not that far away from me. In fact, I would go up and shoot with a buddy of mine up that way a little bit closer, and it's not uncommon to hear artillery shells and things going off in the distance, over on base. So that's kind of nice. That sound of thunder, the distant thunder you don't want to hear if you're the enemy. But anyway, I'm coming back to you for a little more radio jabbering and reloading room rambling here. And who knows what we'll talk about. I'll probably touch on a variety of topics as they come to mind. A couple of notes on a few things. Always talk about some of the videos that we've been doing lately. Talk about what we do, because I don't talk about what we're doing as much in some of the videos. Give you a little, maybe, inside information on something, who knows. A little bit of the reasoning or the whys and the wherefores behind some of the crazy stuff we do. Some guns been working with lately. Some questions I get a lot of. I don't know. Some competition things I might talk about a little bit. We'll just see where it goes. And as you can guess, I still miss old Gunner lying here at my feet or chewing on stuff. Yep, his bone's still there. Though, wherever that's a real bone. It's not a toy bone. It's an old piece of a bone dried out. He used to chew on his teeth marks on it there. But I actually miss him outside more than in the reloading room. Lots of times he wasn't in here when I was in here. Just coming home and just stepping outside onto the porch and, not being assaulted by him and, having him there wanting to play. That's harder than really anything. Just the quiet, the dreaded quiet, around. You just don't realize how much they fill up the atmosphere, Just every second you're outside, there they are wanting to play, be petted, and doing something goofy, and then it's totally gone. It's pretty weird. Just like when you lose anything that meant a lot to you or anybody. Again, big difference between dogs and people, of course. But anyway, we'll talk about a few things today and try my best to bore you to tears. How's that? Well, I guess one of the things we've been involved in quite a bit since the last radio broadcast is a lot of playing around with that 5.7, that FN, and not sure what else I can tell you about that thing, but where I don't like to get off and ramble too much, in an actual video, I do try to keep it casual and just talk to you while I'm looking at these guns and shooting them. We like for them to move along too, or we wouldn't have any viewers. A lot of people do want to just see guns shot, a little information, and move on. Don't necessarily get that from us because we tend to take our time, and I don't know that it's all that thorough always, but we take our time and shoot and mess with it, and you just have a little bit different approach than some people that maybe have a more scripted approach to things. But I can be even less or even more casual talking to you like this, and maybe give you a little more insight into what I think about some things, I don't know. I tend not to be too overly critical about something that we're shooting unless it's just a piece of junk, and I really don't like to review quote unquote junk, and really won't. I'm only interested in decent guns, nice firearms, knives, things that we do. We don't do many knives. Got some more knives I need to do, but I don't. I realize probably some people feel that I'm a little too positive, or I don't criticize some firearms as much as I could. I guess I'd like to just let the proof be in the pudding and just point out the things I don't like as much as other things. For one thing, a certain percentage of you all, about any gun that we review or shoot, a certain percentage of you all have the gun, and I'm not interested in bashing your gun, trying to make you feel like an idiot because you have an FN, or you have a SIG, a Glock, or whatever it might be. I mean, that's crazy. There's no future in that. I mean, I try to remember that there are some really devoted fans of probably any firearm we put on camera, and lots of you. With the viewer base we have, there are probably thousands with just about any firearm that we bring out. And since I don't tend to bring out total junk, I just want to point out what I like, what I don't like, and see how it shoots, how I shoot it. And even that's not a definitive evaluation necessarily. I could be having a very average day or a bad day shooting, for one thing. Just don't get a good feel for the gun, my large hands, and the grip and trigger, and just doesn't click as well for me. Whereas maybe if it were a gun I'm going to keep, or one that I'm going to have for a long time, maybe in 6 months I'm shooting it better than anything I have. So there's just a lot of variables there, and I just like to point out the things I like and things I don't like so much about them, and go from there. So anyway, the 5.7, I've got off topic there. I'm still not sure what I think about that gun. As I said at the end of chapter 2, I guess it was, that I don't think I'm interested in buying it. Maybe I would change my mind at some point, but I could probably buy that one, or have bought that one at a decent price. But I just am not driven to own that gun. I don't know. For one thing, I've got too many guns, but on the other hand, it doesn't do anything that some guns I already have will do. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it. It again, as I pointed out, there are a lot of advantages in terms of very low recoil, almost no recoil for a pretty powerful little 22. No recoil. And again, I think you can get some more powerful ammo. This company Elite Ammunition that people kept mentioning in the comments loads some up that's I don't know, it's hotter than what you can normally buy that FN makes. I don't know if it's as hot as what the military offers for, soldiers, or the law enforcement, or that's available for law enforcement. I don't know. I know it's warmer ammo, and of course you could load your own if you want to. That's a bit of an ordeal, but there are people doing it. I don't know if you've seen the video that the KGB 65 put up recently. I don't know if you know him. I subscribe to him. It's the THE KGB 65. He has a really dry sense of humor. He's a funny guy, very smart, and he shoots. He competes some, and he reloads. He's just a character. He is reloading. He has both the pistol, the 5.7, and also the carbine. The rifle. And he started reloading for it all recently. Did a lot of research, and he put up a video recently showing how he goes about it. And I gave him a hard time about it in a comment, I think. But something to the effect that he sure just made factory ammo look a whole lot less expensive with what he goes through. But once you get set up to do something like that, it's really not as bad as it looks. I know, because I reloaded black powder cartridge cases. I haven't done it recently, but I reloaded thousands of those things in 45 Colt and 45-70, and to stand and watch what I went through to do that, you think, what an idiot! is it worth it? On top of all that, when you do shoot, you make a mess out of the gun, and you've got a major cleaning project every time you shoot it. So I'm not one to talk. It's just whatever floats your boat. If you get into it, reloading is a hobby sport in and of itself, really, and it's quite an interesting endeavor for people who are prone to tinkering with things and as I mentioned in some of my reloading videos, I think that you don't want to be a bull in a china shop type person. If you are, maybe you don't want to mess with it. But if you have a precise nature about you, and you can handle detail, everything, and you're organized, you tend to get things right. It's a very interesting hobby and very worthwhile. And you could actually go through the steps. I suggest you look at his video if you've got one of these guns and you're thinking about reloading it, because while he might not realize it, he put together a pretty good reloading seminar in that video. And just keep in mind, a lot of the steps and a lot of things he's doing in that video are not needed for other cases, other cartridges at all. But anyway, pretty interesting stuff. Interesting gun, and it's going to have a loyal following, I would guess, for a long time, and it will probably grow, to some extent. It's just a different sort of animal, and you got to admit, we shooters, gun collectors, we like things that are different, and we like it. It doesn't matter that it doesn't have a purpose. If it doesn't have a specific purpose, so what? Look at your own collection. You probably have duplicates and all kinds of things. You could probably pare down to a couple of handguns and a couple of rifles and a couple of shotguns, and be able to do about everything you wanted to do. So the old question, what's it for? What's it do better than a 9mm or some other gun? It's almost not a valid question, unless you're heading off into the wilderness and you're only allowed to carry 2 guns or something, and you got to decide what to carry, and then maybe that's a valid question. We got some other guns. The DB9 Diamondback, you'll be seeing posting on that here sometime. And interesting little gun, very small. I mean, that gun is very thin and very small. I don't think you could get a smaller 9mm. Almost too small, almost too thin. It does jump around a little bit, even in a 9. That seems to work. We had a couple of malfunctions with it. Seems to work all right. So we'll continue shooting that and see how it does, and do a couple of videos with it. Have done one, and just haven't posted yet. In our posting order, we'll get it up there probably the next week or so. And we got things popping, with the opportunity on the Shield. Hopefully you've seen the video. That gun just came out. That's a much advertised and discussed firearm. So when we got an opportunity to get our hands on the Shield, we thought we'd better go ahead and do some videos with that. What we do doesn't rely on having all the newest guns out there, as quickly as possible. It's just nice every now and then to be one of the first, main videos with a new firearm. We've done that 2 or 3 times. I guess the SR 1911 and what else? I don't know, just a couple of times. But particularly where I'm not on the T&E list with Smith & Wesson, as I said in a comment on that video, that was just random. I wouldn't have a Shield or necessarily even a line on one. I guess if I'd worked at it hard, maybe I would have ahead of time. But there are not that many going to the gun shops, and it just happened that a fellow who has helped us out before had one on order, and contacted me and said that he'd be glad to lend it to me if we were interested. He got it, shot it a few times, a couple hundred times, and a few more than that. Some guys there that he knows shot it some too, and he said, "Yeah, go ahead and take it, as long as you need it." And that was good. So I drove down, picked it up, and we did a video with it. So shot it some before the video, and we did a close-up. We'll post, and I did forget. I know I mentioned in the description I had hollow points out there because it's a carry gun. to shoot hollow points in it. I had shot some in it before the video, I think the day before, just to make sure, see, I was interested myself in this gun. I mean, if I see a gun that I think might be something I want, I really want to know how it works, and is it going to feed hollow points? And that's good for us to do in any of the guns. But anyway, in the video, I forgot right there on the table, and that's part of the price that I pay for the free-flowing type of videos we do, where we kind of have an idea what we're going to do, but we just kind of take off and start the camera. And that video went for about 30 minutes, just kind of free form. And so, I'm going to forget things, or I'm going to add things I don't need to add, talk about things I maybe don't need to talk about, or possibly repeat myself and all that. But you're getting it raw that way, and that's most of what we do. And I forgot to shoot them. I did shoot them in the close-up, I'll say that. And we already did a close-up. I don't know when we'll post that, but we did a close-up with it, and I made a point to, after it had a mag or two through it, I put a magazine of hollow points through it. So, and it has not malfunctioned yet. In the close-up, we just fired 4 magazines in the close-up, and then you saw what we fired in the video. And before the video, around 300 rounds had gone through it, maybe a few more. John fired it after the video, some, probably 4 magazines worth, I guess. So that's about what it's had through it, and it's not had not even a hiccup at all, nothing, and never a bobble where it looked like it, round almost didn't chamber or anything like that. It's worked flawlessly so far. And since it is kind of a cool little gun, I know you'd be interested in how it's working. Even if it's a gun that doesn't quite surpass something I have, if it gets close, because I'm an aficionado. I'm a fan of small defensive firearms, small effective defensive firearms. I guess we could put a lot of other adjectives in there, but something you can carry pretty easily that shoots well, that fits the hand well, whatever the caliber, and particularly if it's at least a 9mm. So anyway, I don't know, that gun, like I say, it's the size of the PPS, about the size of the Ruger SR9, but it just feels a little bit better, and you get the impression, the feel, you can shoot it a little bit better than those other guns. Maybe not so much the PPS. PPS is a healthy little gun, about the same weight, I think, as I recall, and it's just maybe not quite as comfortable, but not a lot of difference. The trigger, it might be one of the biggest differences. The trigger on the PPS seemed a little sharp to me, a little gritty, not too bad. That little safety on the trigger, like the Glock black safety, was kind of sharp on it. I recall that, and it has the different kind of magazine release. Those are all just little picky things. No major problems with that gun, but this doesn't have any of those negatives, as small as those negatives are. But anyway, I'm liking the shield. It's too big for a pocket for me. It doesn't appeal to me as a pocket gun. I've got to get on down a little bit with a shorter grip. To a PM9 size, so I don't think it would place the PM9. For me, that gun, or one that size that has that good trigger, is mostly a belt gun. It's for when as I say in the video, it's for when I am in the mood to just have a gun on that I just don't know I have. A good holster inside the waistband. It's so thin that I really don't know I've got the gun. Yeah, I'm compromising. I'm carrying a little 9 with 7+1 in it. But as we all know, with good ammunition, and if you can shoot, you probably get out of anything you're going to find yourself in. So, okay, hit the pause button there. John called, and kind of forgot where I was. I was talking though about the PM9, talking about the shield and those guns and the purpose of those guns, I believe in. Yep, just like videos, you get the real stuff here. But The shield is a little too big for the pocket for me, and I think it would always be inside the waistband. Just when I'm in a mood to carry a gun like that. As I said, compromise maybe a little bit on maybe even caliber, capacity. Something to be said for that, because as I've said before, and a lot of people have, it's easy to talk about how you wouldn't carry anything but a 45 1911 full size government model, and I just have a hard time believing some of the people that claim that they are very well armed as often as a lot of us are. Because if you make it a mission to really have convenient firearms, there are so many choices out there. You can be armed anytime it's legal for you to be armed, just about. You really can, without having to go through Herculean efforts to dress, wear a trench coat, and everything else. There's just a lot of cool guns out there in all sizes, and starting in the pocket, a little LCP, of course, or anything that size, the car P380. I'm kind of talking about ones I'm familiar with, more familiar with. The little SIGs, the smallest 380s that are out there, no problem, right? Pocket, decent holster, almost any time, no problem. PM9 size guns, and there aren't many that exact size, but that takes you into a 9mm, about the smallest 9, other than that Diamondback. That DB9 is small. Those guns, they work in the pocket too in most cases. They do okay if you try them. I think you'll find that you could, especially that DB9. It's a small 9mm, maybe too small to shoot well for you. The car PM9, it work in most people's pocket, and very shootable gun. That's close to the limit for me. Now I know some people carry like the LC9 or even this Shield as a pocket gun, and I could probably do that. It's just a little bigger though, a little longer grip. That when you get to that size, I tend to think of that as that it's a transitional gun. Obviously, could ride in a pocket, depending on your pockets and size of your pockets. Could ride in a pocket okay. I think of that as more convenient for a belt gun, a small belt gun. You're getting into your smallest belt gun, really. And either you're on the outer edges of the pocket, in terms of size, outer edges of the size threshold, for the pocket, or on the low end for the belt, to where you hardly know you have it. So I don't know if that makes any sense. But great little belt gun for sure. And it doesn't matter. We gunnies, we people that live with big lead and shoot heavy recoiling guns and love it, don't mind it. We have to remember there are a lot of people who don't shoot very much. And, those guns, probably very appealing, guns of that size. That single stack 9, very popular for a lot of people that are not as concerned about high capacity or a bigger caliber. And if that's your criteria, you've got a gun there, just like in some others, that some I can't even speak to. There's some SIG models and different guns that I hear about a lot that I'm just not that familiar with them. And small single stack 9s, that's a niche that's being filled, and it's a valid niche. These are nice guns. So we are living in great times, lots of choices. But I like that gun. Anyway, I talk a little more about those than I meant to, I guess. But that's what we're about here, firearms, aren't we? Actually, that was one of my topics. My next topic, so many choices I was going to talk about, and I kind of have. We are really, really lucky. The manufacturers are all selling a lot of guns, even though the economy is down for various reasons. Gun sales are way up, and ammo sales, and have been for years, and that's been good for the research, the R&D at these gun companies. They've come out with a lot of guns. They're meeting the demand, and that's good for us. We have lots of choices, and And then, of course, the thing, as I've talked about before, is we're not even sure what we want. You know, even we experienced people, we're always finding something a little better, just like we are with holsters. We're finding a gun that fits the hand just a little bit better and offers all the same characteristics or qualities maybe we've had. So we're pretty picky. We folks, aren't we, that shoot a lot. So it's hard for us to resist if something comes out that is very much like what we have settled on finally, but maybe it has a better trigger. You know, maybe it's a bit more reliable. Maybe it's from a company now that offers a gun they did not offer in the past, and they have a reputation for building really quality firearms. Maybe that's all it is. It's just from a better company, I don't know, that now builds a gun in the size we want or something. Or it has switched to a trigger mechanism we like, or a caliber. You know, who knows what it might be. So we're all changing. It's not just new shooters and people recently into shooting. It's all of us. We're all looking for that perfect carry gun, especially. Now, if you're not in a carry state and that's not an issue, it's a little different. You're looking for a good range gun, maybe a good home defense firearm, and less pressure on that. You just need a gun that feels good to you. It's big enough to shoot well, that you enjoy, can afford to shoot. It's just a different thing. Well, we all have that essentially, except that those of us who live in carry states, we spend a lot of time. Especially me, I've always been really impressed with a firearm that carries well, but also is a great gun on the range. To me, that's a very good combination. That's one reason I like a Glock 27 or 26. Those guns, and Glock 19, Glock 23, name them all. You got a gun that you can carry, and a gun like the Shield. And I'm not just specifically the Shield. I get nothing from Smith & Wesson, not even that gun. I can't get on their T&E list, it seems. But a gun like that, I would say the LC9, if it weren't for the long trigger pull and where it breaks, at the very back of the trigger guard, that's the only criticism I have of that gun. And that's another topic. I know there's some aftermarket stuff that kind of fixes that. We may show or talk about some later video, but a small gun that is a great self-defense gun, carry gun, concealed carry gun inside the waistband, a pocket, but yet you can pull out and shoot at lots of different ranges, distances at the range, and hit what you're shooting at. Oh man, that's why I like the Glock 26, 27, those small guns, and maybe this Shield and guns like that. You got it all in one package that you can enjoy. And then you have the added benefit of getting better because you like to shoot it, and it is shootable, fun to shoot. You can actually hit stuff with it beyond just at arm's length. So you're going to shoot it more, and it's just going to be an all-around gun. You could give me a Glock 27 and take everything else away. I'm well armed, and I'm going to have fun at the range anytime we go, and have fun at any distance, and got a great carry gun. Could even be a pocket gun, So anyway, I guess that's enough on that. But there are a lot of good choices out there, and it kind of depends on what you're looking for, of course. But if you're combining the carry gun with the fun range gun, that makes for a really nice combination for a lot of reasons. You're much better armed. You're a better shooter. You're going to be better prepared for any eventuality, and I think you know what I mean. Hey, let's do the gun of the week, okay? Are you ready? I'll make some sounds with it here. Okay, that's about all I'm going to do. We'll see if you can tell anything about that, okay? It's not a gun I've had out much. That gun probably, that has never, don't think I've had that gun out as gun of the show or week ever in the radio show. So that's, and I'll say it is a long gun. I still get a lot of questions about all sorts of firearms and requests, and I don't know if high percentage of you folks who do a lot of the requesting of guns maybe I haven't done, listen to the radio show. But if you're out there, listen to what I have to say. I know it might seem like I'm ignoring you, but there's so many gun models out there, and what guns we end up with is partly random. It's partly random. I guess we start out, first of all, it's guns I've owned that I like or I wouldn't own them. Okay, as we started this thing, doing the videos with firearms that I had. And obviously I must be fond of that particular firearm or I wouldn't have had it. Okay, there's a lot of firearms. And you learn something, I guess, just by that, what firearms I like. If you look at the videos, there's my preferences. It's not to say the fact I don't have a video out on a particular gun that I think that gun is junk. It's, any more than I think some cars are junk just because I don't own them or have not owned them. I mean, there's only so many days in a year and years in a life. I mean, how many guns do you need to go through? So everybody has their preferences, and and the guns we all end up is somewhat random when you think about it. We end up with, you may have been at the range 10 years ago and somebody was shooting a SIG and you kind of liked it, and so you hit well with it that day, and so you went home and bought a SIG, and maybe you've had a couple since then. You see no reason to even look at a Glock or an XDM or the others. You like your SIGs. Maybe you have nothing necessarily against the other manufacturers. You just, you like what you've got. How many guns do you need? You got it in 3 different calibers, or whatever. Everything that you need, a carry SIG and a range SIG, and I don't know. So some of it is random. Where you get started, what serves you well, you shoot it well enough. So, why change? So, and then the other thing is there are guns I'm not as crazy about. So I've not bought any of those, perhaps. There are some gun companies that have a lot of guns out there that maybe I just not pursued. And it's not that I have a grudge against them or hate them. I'd rather work with the companies or the guns that I know are quality and that make good guns for the most part first as we go through this. And if we get a lot of requests for certain guns, I branch out as I've done. I've gotten some guns that were strictly from recommendations where the recommendations or suggestions were overwhelming, and kind of go from there. But you can tell a little bit by guns I don't have, I guess, that maybe my opinion of them or my impression. And there's lots of companies that have, hundreds of models, I guess. So, so where do I start? And of course, it would be with the most requested models. And again, we didn't get into this to be like the official gun reviewer of all the guns, but we do some of that, and we kind of enjoy that, looking at different guns, checking them out, and if they're guns that a lot of people have interest in, it's like, why not? And so we'll continue to do that, but we still can't get around to every firearm, and I just can't. You cannot imagine. You see on comments the requests I get, and I get more than that in personal messages of different guns to test and to buy and to show and all that. So there's no end to that. But we just have to truck along. Sometimes, like I say, it's random. It's what we get offered. It's what the companies I have T&E agreements with are coming out with, or that they manufacture. Get a message, someone's got a gun. I've got several I've saved of guns that I can contact some people, and we get time this summer. I hope to catch up with some of those, some different firearms that I'll go ahead and take them up on their offer to try them out, some things like that. So just know we get lots of suggestions, and I'm not ignoring anybody. It's just it's got to bubble up a lot of requests for the same thing generally, unless it just pops up. Somebody locally has one or something and looks interesting. let's not make you wait too long. Go ahead and, in case I forget it, or almost do, what gun I was playing with there a minute ago. Gun of the show. Alright. Pretty cool little gun. It is the 1897 cowboy version. It's the Marlin. Okay, 22 lever gun. You've seen it in action. Need to see it more, don't you? I need to get it out. They're sweet. John has one and I have one. I got John this one, when he was 13. His 13th. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to go back. It's either his 13th birthday or Christmas when he was 13. I think it was his 13th birthday. Yeah. So that's a special gun because it's such a nice gun. There's nothing like a Marlin. You know, it's based on that 39, and this is the cowboy version of it. You know, the 1897. Beautiful, beautiful gun. Smooth and almost impossible to miss with. And we've got the Skinner peep sights on it, on both of them. So, boy, those things will drive tacks. And great, great guns. So, and of course, John has been the victim of having a gun nut for a father, right? So he's had an interesting life, I guess. You know, I grew up having access to a farm for much of the time, and firearms, but not all the time. Not the first 10 years, especially as much. Although we'd go out to my relatives and, you know, like gun nut uncle, I think I've told you about. And, you know, we'd shoot and had 22s. We'd take out to the country and shoot and everything. But it wasn't until I was about 10 that I actually lived on a farm where I could shoot almost any time I wanted there within a couple of years. But yeah, I forget what that must be like for John, because since day one he's lived on the 40 acres here and been able to shoot. And I put a rifle in his hand when he was 3, 4, and I had to hold it, while he fired it. But and the gun that I bought for him the day he was born, that pump 22 Remington. I remember the first, several years when he would shoot that. He couldn't shoulder the thing, of course. The stock was way too long, and he just put it under his arm. And I had a shorter shooting table at the time, I recall. Maybe he would stand up on something, or I'd hold him up, but he would just rest it on the shooting table and shoot it. I remember for a period of time, and he kind of got in the habit of that. I had to break him of that, about to turn him into a bench rest shooter, because it was so long that he had to rest it on something, and couldn't put it against his shoulders, so he'd just get his face down there and look down the sights, with it lying on the shooting table and shoot. And of course, at 6'8", that's not a problem now, though, is it? But anyway, he's grown up, being able to walk around with me and shoot and everything. So I guess that's different from most of us. That's even different from myself in a lot of ways. But that's the gun. It's the Marlin 1897 octagonal barrel 22. Beautiful gun. One thing I was going to ask you all to help with, and I may mention this in the vlog. We're going to do a vlog here pretty soon, and I may repeat some of the things here. I don't know, but I hadn't done a radio show for a while, so I thought I needed to come out and just chat. It was a great afternoon for it, and I was just in the mood, and you know how that goes. If I'm in the mood to shoot or do something, I like to do it. But a lot of new people, of course, every day, as usual, and it's an interesting phenomenon, isn't it? This YouTube, this internet thing. I believe this internet's going to take off, and it's going to be successful. The questions. It's funny. I know some of you all would have to agree. The same questions we've been hearing for 3 years. Who's that cameraman? Or what happened to your targets? Whenever we're shooting something over on the second range, the second hill, been doing videos over there for a long time, but there's just new people. They may have come in last week, and they have seen 4 or 5 videos on the main range, and then all of a sudden there I am doing a chapter 2, and what happened to all their favorite targets they're used to seeing, the animals? Where'd they all go? We're shooting at these 7 or 8 little square, ugly steel targets over there, trying to knock them over, and they just almost seem to be in shock. What did you do to the range? But I appreciate you all jumping in, as you do quite often, and help with that, and just give them a little guidance, because there are hundreds of new people every day, and just let them know, FAQ, I do a lot of that, and any of that you can do helps out. Just tell them to check the FAQ videos. And the FAQ video playlist really, that answers a lot of questions. It's almost like frequently asked questions, huh? But that's what it stands for. But if you can send them there, and my guess is they kind of, once they get there and see that there are a lot of questions, they can just scroll through and kind of see what the topics are, and look at a lot of those. They're not very long, and really get a lot of questions answered. But and then as they prowl around and see more of the videos, they're going to eventually figure it out. So lots of them, they don't answer them, but it's great that you all jump in there and kind of help people out, let them know what's going on, because there's always a lot of new people. It's not just clueless people from 2 years ago, that still haven't figured it out. There might be a couple of those, but it's you got hundreds a day, obviously. That translates to a lot of new people in a week's time, and it takes them a while to go back and see some of the older videos. Hopefully they do that. We have put a lot into all of these videos. We hope everybody makes it a goal to work their way through all the videos, and that's where the answers are, basically. As I've said before, we do the videos to let you know what we know about firearms, kind of show you guns and give you information, and with a little entertainment. And if I couldn't type a word, or had no time to even go online other than post a video, that's the information we're providing, and in the videos is the main thing. And then anything else I feel is kind of gravy, as I have time to communicate with people, and of course I do a lot of that, hours and hours a day. But still, the main source of information is the videos that are posted. So I just have to remind myself, I can't get around and answer everything. People just have to see it. If they really like the videos, they really like what we do, they will eventually, find answers to all those questions, because the videos are there. They can see there's over 600, and assume most of those questions are answered in those videos. And if they like them, they will get around. I hope. But anything you can do to help out there is good. Appreciate that. One thing, I didn't have a note about this or anything, but this kind of occurred to me, what a lot of people comment on. Things such as, or comments such as, you're living the life, or I want to be Hickok45 when I grow up, and things like that, or if I live in paradise. And, for a shooter, there's a lot of truth in what you say, really. I have tried to, most of my life, to appreciate what I have and understand that and savor it and know when things are great, instead of always looking on to the next thing. And yeah, you're right. I don't know if that comes off as egotistical or whatever, braggadocio, but yeah, you're right. I do live in paradise in a lot of ways. Ideally, I'd rather have about 400 acres than be doing what I'm doing in the middle of nowhere, but can't have everything. If I did, I'd invite a lot of you over. But yeah, it is neat. When I think back, who knows? I may get hit by a truck like Gunner, today or something. But it doesn't hurt to express it and let people know that I'm aware of it. I really know what I have. It's since about even growing up, and with parents and having the opportunity to hang out on farms and live on farms and shoot, that kind of thing. It was great. And then since around 82 or 83, I've lived on my own land and been able to shoot out the back door. First at a different location with 5 acres, and then here since around 86. So, yeah, I've been here since 1986. I've been shooting on that hill and around the farm, And I think back of how many hundreds of times I've just gotten up on a Saturday morning or summer morning, whenever. I think I'll stick a Colt single action in my belt and just head out through the woods, through the trails, and pocket full of bullets, shoot some stumps, have some targets in the woods too, plink some targets as I walk through the trails. Another time I might I remember having an old, a BAR, no, not the military Browning, but the Browning hunting rifle. Yeah, I had one of those. It's the semi-automatic rifle that they made. I'd still make it, I guess. I don't know. It was in about late 80s or 1990. I bought one of those in .308. Held about 5 rounds, I guess. Beautiful gun. Semi-automatic rifle, hunting rifle, not the military rifle, the BAR. And I remember prowling around the woods with that thing, plinking with it. And then later, as I studied the Garand, I sold that, bought a Garand. I thought, you know what? If we're going to have a gun like this, it's really handy. It doesn't have a big magazine hanging down. Right? I think I'd just soon have 30-06 and have a historical rifle. And that was when I first got the Garand, the first Garand, and I sold that Browning for it. It kind of gives you an idea, I guess, of my priorities. That was a beautiful rifle, but I really preferred to have a Garand, do the same thing, hold 8 rounds, and have the history and all that. But I recall, as I think back of over the years, being able to walk around here, whether it's with gosh, I could name a lot of different guns, of course. Smith & Wesson 44, plinking around the farm, or a 22, Dad's old 22. Quite often, a Colt single action, or even a Ruger. I had Vaqueros, Ruger Vaqueros. I had a Schofield. I'd walk around. Revolvers are always popular for woods bumming, woods walking, because you don't lose any of your brass. However, I've always gone with automatics too at times, semi-automatics. You lose some of your brass, but that's all right. You don't shoot as much, just out walking through the woods, plinking here and there at a target. But it is nice. It's something I hope all of you get a chance to experience. Some of you already do. There's nothing like it. And you about have to own your own land or have access to some nice land to do that. You just can't shoot at a dead tree anywhere. You pretty much has to be on your place. Go to a park and try that, and see how long you stay out of jail. But it has been really nice, and being able to shoot any firearm, and of course in the YouTube project has, even though it's crazy busy, that's pretty cool too. As many of you noticed, being able to try out a lot of different guns and make some ad revenue to pay the way, and go pick up thousands of rounds of ammunition as I need it, and guns now and then, and show them in a video and kind of be myself and not have to try to be somebody else in order for you to watch it, So, yeah, I do understand and appreciate that it's a pretty cool gig. Just living here and being able to walk around and shoot, that's pretty cool when you really like to shoot and you really enjoy the hobby of shooting as much as I do. That in itself was really cool and has been really cool. And then, of course, taking it to the next level now, where we're able to share it with a lot of people. And, with even more firearms, which more than I need, of course, and more than I even want necessarily. I was really at a point where I was trying to pare down on the firearms, but just because of circumstances, now I end up with a lot of guns that, it's just, some of them it just doesn't make sense to send back. They're pretty neat. Maybe the price is, pretty good on it, so I just buy it, but so I have a lot of guns I really don't need for certain, even for the videos probably. But it is pretty cool to be able to shoot so many different firearms, and that's what I've always liked, really, the variety of firearms. Everything, from flintlock to cap-lock muzzle loaders to Glocks to nifty little 9mm carbines, you name it. all those guns are fun. It's hard to find something that's not fun. And so I get a broader perspective, I guess, on the firearms than I used to have, because I've tried so many different ones. And in a lot of ways, it just confirms what I already thought about firearms, about which ones that I can shoot the best or feel the best to me. So but it is fun, and you're correct, exactly right on the money, that I am lucky. It's not all luck, I put myself here, but over the years. But I am lucky. I am fortunate, put it that way. Very fortunate to be able to take off through the woods right now with a firearm of my choice and plink around at some pretty cool targets. And just as fate would have it, I was born into the right country, in a pretty good area of the country, and kept myself out of trouble and got myself a degree and profession, and just, I don't know, moved in the right direction. Didn't spend a lot of time in prison. Those 10 years in prison didn't really hold me back that much. Just kidding. But yeah, it is neat to be able to do what I do, and to have been able to do what I have been doing for so many years, decades. I'm spoiled. What can I say? It's been cool. And you are exactly correct. I am the first to admit it, and I know it every day. One thing about it, when you get a little bit older, you especially understand what you got, and you savor it. I don't know, you're just wiser about that sort of thing. And just like with gunner dogs, they could be gone any minute, just like you do with people. And you savor it. You value every minute. It doesn't make it any easier, when things go away, but you live a little bit deeper, I think, in a lot of ways. So, getting a little too philosophical here. Better wrap it up. But a lot of people comment, almost every day somewhere, man, are you living a life? Wow, I want to be Hickok45, that kind of thing. But they're right in a lot of ways, because it is cool. If you like guns, there's not a lot more you can ask for, other than, like I say, my ideal paradise, real paradise, would be several hundred acres out in the middle of nowhere. Being able to shoot out the 1,000 yards, and and no neighbor within 10 miles, all that kind of thing. That's about the only way you could step it up, I guess. But I appreciate all of you. It's great to be able to bring whatever it is we do to you, and for y'all to keep watching and enjoy it. I hope to continue bringing you something educational, helping you out. I know we do some things a little goofy that might fall mostly under entertainment, but if it's with firearms, that's fun. I enjoy blowing stuff up with firearms. I can't help it. It's just fun, and shooting is fun. What can I say? I plead guilty. I have no excuses. It's just fun. Loading bullets and shooting bullets. It's more fun than shooting a basketball or driving a car or any other hobbies that I've ever been involved in. So we'll keep doing it, and hope you get a chance to shoot some yourself this week, and at least fondle something that has rifling and a hammer or a striker, right? Carefully. And we'll bring you some more firearms here coming up pretty soon. A couple you haven't seen, actually. And we're glad to be able to do that. So you all take care. Life's pretty good. You've been listening to the Hickok45 Radio Show. See you on the range.